Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood in the center of the great chamber, feeling very small. The Galactic Council's meeting hall stretched above her like a cathedral made of starlight and metal. Representatives from dozens of worlds sat in floating seats that moved in slow circles around the speaking floor. Their alien forms cast strange shadows in the blue-white light. Elena kept her face calm, but inside she felt sick. 15 years had passed since the Kepler colony massacre, but the pain still felt fresh. She could still see the news footage in her mind. Children running in terror, families torn apart. 50,000 human lives ended in a single day. The Hegemony Alliance speaker floated forward. It was a Veltar, tall and graceful with silver skin that seemed to glow. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music. But Elena knew what those beautiful hands had done on Kepler. Honored representative of humanity, the Veltar said, "We come before you today with hearts full of hope. The galaxy faces a new threat from beyond our borders. An enemy approaches that seeks to destroy all life as we know it." Elena nodded politely. She had read the reports. Something was coming from outside their galaxy. The long-range sensors showed massive ships moving between the stars, leaving dead worlds behind them. The threat was real. "We have evolved beyond our past mistakes," the Veltar continued. "The old ways of war and conquest no longer serve us. We seek unity now. Peace between all peoples of the galaxy." Other council members added their voices. The Kethron ambassador spoke of shared technology. The Zephyrian delegate promised trade routes that would make humanity rich. The Mordoon representative offered military protection for human worlds. All Elena had to do was say yes. Humanity would join the Galactic Alliance. They would share their knowledge and receive help in return. The past would be forgotten. The future would be bright. But Elena remembered the broadcast. The Hegemony had sent it to every human world as a warning. They had made sure everyone saw what happened when humans tried to expand beyond their assigned space. The images were burned into the memory of every person who survived. She thought about Captain Torres, who had tried to surrender. The aliens had killed him anyway. She thought about the Martinez family, who had hidden in their home for 3 days before the Veltar found them. She thought about little Sarah Chen, who had asked her mother why the pretty aliens were being mean. The council waited for her answer. The chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the air systems. Representatives from across the galaxy watched her with eyes, sensors, and other things she could not name. Elena smiled and bowed slightly. "The United Earth government is honored by your invitation," she said. "This offer requires careful consideration. We will need time to discuss it with our people." The Veltar's face showed disappointment, but it nodded. "Of course. Such an important decision cannot be rushed." "How much time do you need?" 2 weeks should be enough," Elena said. "Excellent. We look forward to welcoming humanity into our alliance." Elena bowed again and walked toward the exit. Her footsteps echoed in the vast chamber. She kept her pace steady and her face neutral until the doors closed behind her. Once she was alone in the corridor, Elena pulled out a small device that looked like a normal communication pad. She typed a short message. "The wolves are asking the sheep to forget." Then she pressed send. The message would take 6 hours to reach Earth through the quantum relay network. By then, Admiral Chen would be waiting for it. They had planned for this day for 15 years. Elena looked out through the station's viewing ports at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the alien threat was moving closer. The Hegemony was right about that much. The galaxy would need to unite to survive. But they were wrong about one thing. Humanity had not forgotten. They had not forgiven. And they were not the same helpless prey that had been slaughtered on Kepler. She walked to her ship, thinking about the classified briefings she had received before coming here. Project Nemesis was ready. The new weapons were tested. The fleet was prepared. Humanity had spent 15 years getting ready for this moment. The aliens wanted peace now because they were afraid. The approaching threat had made them desperate. They needed human help, and they thought humanity would simply forget the past and join hands with their killers. Elena smiled as she reached her ship. The galaxy was about to learn something important about human memory. They never forgot their dead, and they never forgave those who murdered children. Her pilot looked up as she entered the bridge. "Course for Earth, Ambassador?" "Yes," Elena said. "Best speed. We have important news to deliver." As her ship pulled away from the station, Elena looked back at the Galactic Council chambers one last time. In 2 weeks, she would return with humanity's answer. But it would not be the answer the hegemony expected. The message she had sent was already traveling toward Earth, where Admiral Chen waited with the largest fleet humanity had ever built. Soon, the galaxy would understand that some crimes could never be forgiven. The stars looked different to Elena now, not like distant lights but like destinations, places where justice waited to be served. Her ship jumped to faster than light speed, carrying her toward Earth and toward the reckoning that was coming. The hegemony had asked for peace, but they were about to receive war. Behind her, the Galactic Council continued its session, making plans for unity and cooperation. They had no idea that humanity's answer was already being written in the construction yards of Earth, where new warships waited in the darkness between worlds. The massacre on Kepler had been broadcast across human space as a warning. Soon, humanity would broadcast its own message to the galaxy, and this time, the aliens would be the ones who learned to be afraid. Admiral Marcus Chen stood in the war room deep beneath Terra Nova's surface. The chamber was carved from solid rock and lined with metal that could block any known scanning technology. For 15 years, this room had been the secret heart of humanity's preparation for war. The message from Ambassador Vasquez appeared on the main screen. "The wolves are asking the sheep to forget." Chen had been expecting these words, but they still made his blood run cold. The time had finally come. Around the circular table sat the people who would decide the galaxy's future. Captain Sarah Kim looked tired but determined. Her parents had died on Kepler when she was just 16. General Pavel Petrov bore scars from the evacuation ships that barely escaped the massacre. Dr. Yuki Tanaka had spent 15 years turning grief into weapons. "They want us to join their alliance," Chen said, reading the full report from Vasquez. "In exchange for forgetting Kepler." "Forgetting," Captain Kim repeated. Her voice was quiet, but everyone could hear the anger underneath. "They broadcast our children's deaths to scare us, and now they want us to forget." General Petrov pulled up a holographic display showing the approaching threat from outside the galaxy. "The external enemy is real. Our long-range scouts confirm massive ships moving between the dark spaces. They destroy everything they find. Let them come," Dr. Tanaka said. "After we finish with the hegemony, we can deal with the next threat." Chen nodded and activated the room's security systems. Even here, in the most protected place on Terra Nova, they took no chances. "Show them what we've built, Doctor." The lights dimmed and the holographic projectors came to life. Images filled the air around them, showing 15 years of secret work. Ships that looked nothing like the curved, elegant vessels other species used. Human warships were angular and dark, built for stealth and striking power. While the galaxy thought we were hiding and healing, Dr. Tanaka began, we were learning. Every piece of hegemony technology we captured, every database we recovered, every weapon fragment, we studied it all. The display showed massive shipyards hidden in asteroid fields and on the dark sides of moons. Thousands of ships waited in the shadows, invisible to long-range sensors. They were smaller than traditional battleships, but faster and deadlier. The hegemony relies on energy shields and plasma weapons. Dr. Tanaka continued. So we built kinetic impactors and magnetic railguns. They use predictable formation flying, so we developed swarm tactics. They expect honor in battle, so we perfected stealth and surprise. Captain Kim studied the technical readouts. How many ships total? 12,000 combat vessels, Chen answered. Split into 6 fleets, each targeting a different hegemony homeworld. General Petrov whistled softly. That's larger than anything in recorded history. The hegemony has 6 member species, Chen said. Each one voted to approve the Kepler massacre. Each one broadcast our people's deaths as entertainment. They all deserve to pay. The holographic display showed their primary weapons. Kinetic impactors that could punch through energy shields like they were paper. Magnetic railguns that fired projectiles at nearly the speed of light. Swarm missiles that could think and adapt on their own. Our ships are built differently too, Dr. Tanaka explained. Human biology gives us advantages other species lack. We can handle higher gravity, more acceleration, tighter turns. Our ships are built to use these advantages. Chen activated another display showing their stealth technology. We studied Earth's predators for inspiration. Tigers, sharks, spiders, creatures that strike from hiding. Our ships can disappear from sensors until they're close enough to attack. When do we begin? Captain Kim asked. Chen checked the mission clock. Ambassador Vasquez will stall for 2 weeks. That gives us time to move our fleets into position. The attack begins the moment their peace treaty would have been signed. Poetic justice, General Petrov said with a grim smile. The planning session continued through the night. They reviewed target lists, attack patterns, and escape routes. Every detail had been planned and replanned over the years. They would strike all 6 hegemony homeworlds at the same moment, destroying their military capability before they could respond. But they would not target civilians. That was the line that separated humanity from the hegemony. Military bases, government facilities, and defensive installations would burn, but schools, hospitals, and homes would be spared. We're not them, Captain Kim said when the targeting discussion reached its conclusion. We remember what it feels like to lose innocent people, Chen agreed. Our goal is to break their ability to make war, not to commit genocide. Justice, not revenge. Dr. Tanaka brought up the final element of their plan. Once we control their military infrastructure, we offer terms. Complete surrender, war crimes trials for the leaders who ordered Kepler, and integration under human command. And if they refuse? General Petrov asked. Chen's face was stone. Then we continue until they can't refuse anymore. The meeting broke up as dawn approached. Each officer had their orders and knew their part in what was coming. They had waited 15 years for this moment, and they were ready. Chen remained in the war room after the others left, staring at the holographic display of human fleets. 12,000 ships, each one built by people who remembered Kepler. Each one crewed by volunteers who had lost someone in the massacre. A communication screen activated, showing Admiral Hayes from the Outer Colonies fleet. All ships report ready, sir. The crews are eager to begin. Similar reports came in from the other fleet commanders. 15 years of preparation were about to pay off. The galaxy would learn that humanity remembered its dead and honored them with action. Chen thought about the children who had died on Kepler. About Captain Torres, who had tried to save his colony even when he knew it was hopeless. About the families who had trusted that the galaxy was a safe place for humans to explore. The hegemony had wanted to teach humanity about consequences. They had broadcast the massacre to show what happened to species that stepped out of line. The lesson had been received and learned. Now it was time for humanity to teach some lessons of its own. Chen opened a secure channel to all fleet commanders. Operation Payback is approved. Move your fleets to attack positions. In 14 days, we remind the galaxy why they should fear the humans they tried to destroy. The screens went dark and Chen was alone with his thoughts. Soon, the galaxy would understand that some crimes could never be forgiven. The hegemony had asked for peace, but they were about to receive the justice they had earned 15 years ago on Kepler. Outside, the first transport ships were already launching, carrying advance teams to their target systems. The war that had begun with the massacre of innocents was finally about to reach its conclusion. The attack began in silence. Across 6 star systems, human fleets emerged from quantum tunnels like ghosts materializing from darkness. Their stealth systems worked perfectly. The hegemony's sensors detected nothing until the human ships were already in weapons range. Captain Sarah Kim stood on the bridge of the UHS Retribution as it dropped out of quantum space above Veltar Prime, the homeworld of the species that had ordered. The Kepler massacre spread below them like a blue-green jewel. It looked peaceful and beautiful. Target identification complete, her weapons officer reported. 12 military orbital stations, 47 defense platforms, and the planetary command center. Kim nodded. No civilian targets. We're here for their military, not their children. Around them, the human fleet spread out in attack formation. 50 ships moved like a pack of wolves, each one invisible to the Veltar sensors until the moment they opened fire. The element of surprise was total. All ships report ready, Kim's communications officer said. Kim took a deep breath. 15 years of preparation came down to this moment. For Kepler, she said quietly. Then louder, all ships commence firing. The space around Veltar Prime lit up with weapons fire. Kinetic impactors streaked toward the orbital stations at incredible speed. The Veltar energy shields, designed to stop plasma bolts and particle beams, might as well have been paper. The human projectiles punched through them and kept going. The first orbital station exploded in a flash of fire and metal. Then the second. Within minutes, the entire defensive grid around the planet was burning wreckage. In 5 other star systems, the same scene played out. Human fleets appeared without warning and struck with devastating precision. The hegemony had built their defenses to fight the kinds of wars they understood, battles between fleets that approached openly and fought with honor. Humanity had built their fleet to fight a different kind of war. The bridge of his flagship above Cathran space, Admiral Martinez watched his targeting display. Dr. Tanaka was right, he told his crew. Their shields can't stop our kinetic weapons. The Kethron had tried to respond quickly. Their patrol ships moved to intercept the human vessels, but it was like trying to catch shadows. The human ships were faster and more maneuverable than anything the hegemony had seen. Enemy squadron approaching from planetary south, his tactical officer reported. Let them come, Martinez said. All ships implement Pattern 7. The human fleet suddenly split apart like a cloud of insects. Each ship moved on its own course, confusing the Kethran targeting systems. When they reformed, they were behind the enemy squadron with perfect firing solutions. The Kethran ships exploded one by one, their crews never understanding what had hit them. General Petrov led the ground assault on Morden Prime. His Marines had trained for 15 years to fight aliens, and their equipment was designed specifically to counter hegemony advantages. Where the aliens were stronger, humans were faster. Where the aliens had better shields, humans had better weapons. Remember the rules, Petrov told his troops as their assault ships approached the planet's surface. Military targets only. Any Marine who harms a civilian will answer to me personally. The Morden military bases were heavily fortified, but they had not expected an attack from inside their own star system. Human stealth ships had been hiding in the asteroid fields for weeks, waiting for the signal. Petrov's Marines hit the ground running. Their power armor was painted in dark colors that seemed to absorb light. Their weapons fired magnetic projectiles that could punch through alien armor like it was cloth. The Morden soldiers fought bravely, but they were trained to fight other hegemony species. They expected energy weapons and shield-to-shield combat. Instead, they faced humans who moved like Earth predators and struck from unexpected angles. Within 6 hours, every major military installation on Morden Prime was under human control. Back in space above Veltar Prime, Captain Kim received reports from across the battle zone. All orbital defenses destroyed, her tactical officer reported. The planet's military capability is eliminated. Kim nodded and opened a communication channel to the planet below. The blue face of a Veltar military commander appeared on her screen. The alien looked shocked and afraid. I am Captain Sarah Kim of the United Earth Defense Force, she said. Your military assets have been neutralized. Surrender now and no further action will be taken against your world. The Veltar commander's silver skin had turned pale. This is impossible. Our sensors showed nothing. How did you, The same way you appeared over Kepler 15 years ago, Kim interrupted. Without warning. Without mercy. The difference is that we're giving you a chance to surrender. We call for immediate peace negotiations, the commander stammered. Kim's face was cold. You can call for whatever you want. But first, you will surrender all remaining military assets and prepare to receive occupation forces. Similar conversations were happening across 6-star systems. Hegemony commanders, caught completely off guard, were trying to understand how their supposedly superior technology had failed so completely. The answer was simple. While they had spent 15 years assuming humanity was broken and defeated, the humans had spent that time learning everything about their enemies and building weapons specifically designed to defeat them. Dr. Tanaka, monitoring the battle from Terra Nova, smiled as the reports came in. Energy weapons defeated by kinetic impactors. Energy shields bypassed by magnetic projectiles. Fleet formations scattered by swarm tactics. Everything is working exactly as planned. Admiral Chen stood beside her, watching the real-time displays. Casualties? Minimal on our side. We achieved complete surprise on all 6 targets, Chen nodded. And civilian casualties? None reported. Our crews are following orders. Military targets only. This was the crucial difference. The hegemony had broadcast the slaughter of families as a warning. Humanity was demonstrating that war could be fought without murdering innocents. As the first day of battle ended, the results were clear. The hegemony's military power was broken. Their fleets were destroyed. Their orbital defenses were wreckage and their command structures were in chaos. But the human fleets were not finished. They had taken control of the space around 6 worlds, but the real work was just beginning. The hegemony leadership was still alive, still capable of causing trouble. and the external threat from outside the galaxy was still approaching. Captain Kim looked down at Veltar Prime from her position in orbit. The planet that had ordered the death of human children was now defenseless. She could order the bombardment of cities if she wanted. She could do to them what they had done to Kepler. Instead, she opened a channel to her fleet. Establish orbital security. Prepare to receive surrender delegations. And remember, we're better than they are. The galaxy had asked humanity to forget Kepler and join their alliance. Instead, humanity had reminded them why some crimes could never be forgiven. The hegemony had taught humans about consequences 15 years ago. Now the lesson was complete, and the teachers had become the students. The emergency session of the Hegemony Council convened aboard the evacuation ship Sacred Unity, currently hiding in the outer system of Zephyra. The once proud leaders of 6 species sat around a makeshift conference table, their worlds burning behind them. Supreme Archon Velethan had aged 10 years in the past 72 hours. His silver skin was dull with stress and his musical voice cracked when he spoke. The human response was unexpected. Commander Kethvis slammed her forearms on the table. Unexpected? They destroyed our entire military in 3 days. How was this not foreseen? Our intelligence suggested they were broken, Defense Minister Morgeth rumbled. 15 years of isolation. No military expansion. No aggressive actions. They appeared to have accepted their place. They were planning, Archon Velethan said quietly. All this time they were preparing for war. The emergency communication system activated, showing desperate calls from across hegemony space. Colony governors begged for evacuation ships. Military commanders reported total losses. Civilian populations demanded to know why they were suddenly under human occupation. What about our allies? Asked Chancellor Reptos. Surely the other galactic powers will help us. General Zaxron activated the response messages they had received. One by one, the voices of alien diplomats filled the chamber. The Altair Federation had declined to intervene. The Crystal Coalition expressed regrets but would not act. The Machine Republic simply stated that the hegemony had created this situation themselves. They remember Kepler too, Velethan realized. They watched us broadcast the massacre, and now they watch us face the consequences. The most painful message came from the hegemony's former client species. Worlds that had been conquered centuries ago sent their own communications. The humans have freed us from your rule. We stand with Earth now. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's research had been thorough. While preparing for war with the hegemony, humanity had also been making contact with their victims. Oppressed worlds welcomed human ships as liberators, not conquerors. Commander Kethvas brought up tactical displays showing the human positions. They could destroy our homeworlds completely, but they haven't. Why are they holding back? Because they're not us, Velethan said sadly. We broadcast the deaths of their children to teach them fear. They could do the same to us, but they choose not to. The irony was bitter. The hegemony had tried to show humanity that they were weak because they valued life. Instead, humanity had proven that strength and mercy could exist together. An urgent communication came through from Admiral Chen aboard, his flagship above Veltar Prime, and the human leader's face appeared on their screen, calm and controlled. Supreme Archon, Chen said formally. I believe you have something to discuss with me. Velethan straightened in his chair, trying to maintain some dignity. Admiral Chen, we wish to discuss terms for ending this conflict. The conflict ended 3 days ago, Chen replied. What you're requesting is the terms for your surrender. The words hit like physical blows. These were beings who had ruled parts of the galaxy for thousands of years, reduced to begging for mercy from the species they had tried to destroy. We offer complete surrender, Velethan said. Full reparations for the Kepler incident. Trials for those responsible. Technology transfers. Whatever you require. Chen's expression didn't change. You had your chance to offer trials and reparations 15 years ago. Instead, you chose to broadcast our children's deaths as entertainment. The external threat, Commander Kethvis said desperately. Surely you understand the danger approaching from outside the galaxy. Without unity, without the hegemony, Chen corrected. The galaxy will unite under new leadership. Dr. Tanaka's voice came from off-screen. Our long-range sensors confirm the external fleet's approach. Estimated arrival in 4.5 years. We have time to prepare proper defenses. You need our knowledge, Velethan pleaded. Our experience fighting this enemy. We have your databases now, Chen said. Along with your shipyards, your technology, and your client species. What we don't need is your leadership. The truth was devastating. Humanity had not just defeated the hegemony, they had replaced them. In 3 days, the balance of power in the galaxy had completely shifted. Captain Sarah Kim's face appeared beside Chen's. She looked tired but determined. There will be trials, she said, for everyone who voted to approve the Kepler massacre. For everyone who participated in broadcasting our people's deaths, justice will be served. And the rest of us? Asked Chancellor Riptos. The rest of you will have the chance to prove that you've learned from your mistakes, Kim said. Under human supervision, Chen leaned forward. Here are our terms. Complete surrender of all military assets. Trials for war criminals. Integration of your surviving populations under human authority. Your species will serve in the Galactic Defense Fleet, but under human command. You're making us into servants, Velethan said. We're giving you the chance to earn redemption, Chen replied. More than you gave the children of Kepler. The hegemony leaders looked at each other. They had no choice. Their fleets were destroyed. Their homeworlds were occupied and their former allies had abandoned them. How long? Velethan asked quietly. Until you prove you understand the value of life, Kim said. Until we're satisfied that you'll never again broadcast the deaths of innocents as warnings to others. Dr. Tanaka's voice added, The external threat gives you an opportunity. Fight beside us against the real enemy. Protect the worlds you once conquered. Show that you can choose life over death. Chen stood up. You have 24 hours to decide. Accept our terms or we continue military operations until you have no choice left. The communication ended, leaving the hegemony leaders alone with their thoughts. Outside the ship's windows, they could see human patrol vessels in the distance. Sleek, dark ships that moved like predators through space. What choice do we have? Commander Kethvus asked. None, Velethan admitted. We created this situation when we chose to murder their children instead of negotiating boundaries. The irony, General Zaxrin said bitterly, is that they're offering us something we never offered anyone else. A chance to earn our freedom back. Velethan thought about the broadcast 15 years ago. He had personally approved showing the massacre to human worlds. He had believed it would break their spirit and make them submit to hegemony authority. Instead, it had forged them into something harder and more dangerous than the hegemony had ever been. The humans had learned about consequences, just not the ones the hegemony had intended to teach. Send our response, Velethan said finally. We accept their terms. As the message was transmitted to the human fleet, the former rulers of a galactic empire began to plan for their new role as servants seeking redemption. The galaxy that had once feared the hegemony now looked to humanity for protection. The children who had died on Kepler would never be forgotten. But perhaps their deaths would finally serve a purpose, teaching the galaxy that some lines should never be crossed and that justice, though slow, was inevitable. Ambassador Elena Vasquez stood in the observation deck of Admiral Chen's flagship, looking down at Veltar Prime. The planet that had ordered the Kepler massacre was now under human control. Ships moved in orderly patterns above the world, enforcing the occupation that had begun 5 days ago. Beside her, the hegemony leaders waited in chairs that had been welded to the deck. They were not prisoners exactly, but they were not free either. Supreme Archon Velethan kept his silver hands folded in his lap, trying to maintain dignity in defeat. They're coming aboard now, Elena said, watching the shuttle approach. The final surrender ceremony was about to begin. Admiral Chen entered the observation deck with Captain Kim and Dr. Tanaka. They wore their dress uniforms, but their faces showed the weight of command. In 5 days, they had become the rulers of most of the known galaxy. Supreme Archon, Chen said formally. Are you prepared to sign the surrender documents? Velethan stood slowly. Before we proceed, I must ask one question. Why did you spare our civilians? You had every right to do to us what we did to Kepler. Kim stepped forward. Because we're not you. We remember what it felt like to lose innocence. We won't create more orphans just to satisfy our anger. Even after what we did to your children? Especially because of what you did to our children, Chen said. They died because you chose to target the helpless. We honor their memory by protecting the helpless even when they're the children of our enemies. Dr. Tanaka activated a holographic display showing the approaching external threat. Besides, we have bigger problems coming. In 4 years, that fleet will reach our galaxy. Every ship, every world, every life will be needed to stop them. The external enemy was massive. Thousands of ships that consumed everything in their path. The hegemony's first encounters with them had ended in total defeat. Only by running away had any aliens survived to bring warnings. Our intelligence suggests there's some kind of hive mind, Dr. Tanaka continued. They don't negotiate. They don't surrender. They just consume and move on. Velethan nodded slowly. We barely escaped our first contact with them. 3 full fleets destroyed in hours. That's when we realized we needed unity to survive. Unity, Chen said. Not domination. There's a difference. Elena brought out the surrender documents. They were written in multiple languages and covered everything from war crimes trials to the integration of former hegemony forces into the human defense fleet. You understand the terms? She asked. We do, Velethan said. Complete surrender, trials for those responsible for Kepler. Service under human command until we prove ourselves worthy of trust. Kim added, Your people will serve in the defense fleet, but in support roles initially. Prove you can follow orders that protect life, instead of destroying it, and you'll earn more responsibility. The document signing took only minutes, but it changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The hegemony that had ruled through fear and conquest was gone. In its place stood humanity, reluctant rulers who had never wanted an empire. After the ceremony, Chen walked alone to his private quarters. The weight of command sat heavy on his shoulders. In seeking justice for Kepler, humanity had become responsible for billions of lives across hundreds of worlds. Elena joined him a few minutes later. Having second thoughts? Every day, Chen admitted. We set out to punish the people who killed our children. Now we're in charge of protecting everyone's children. Maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs, Elena suggested. Leaders who understand the cost of failure. Chen pulled up the holographic memorial they had created for Kepler Colony. 50,000 faces looked back at him, men, women, and children who had died simply for being human in the wrong place. Among them was little Sarah Chen, who had wanted to help aliens become friends with humans. She got her wish, Elena said, following his gaze. The aliens and humans are working together now. Under threat of extinction, Chen pointed out. Sometimes that's how friendship begins, with a common enemy and a shared need to survive. Dr. Tanaka's voice came over the intercom. Admiral, we're receiving reports from the outer colonies. Former hegemony species are already contributing to the defense preparations. The Kethron are sharing their sensor technology. The Mordun are providing heavy construction capability. Chen smiled slightly. See? Maybe Elena's right. Maybe something good can come from all this. Captain Kim appeared on the communication screen from her position above another world. Sir, we've received a message from the Altair Federation. They want to join our defense alliance. What about the Crystal Coalition? Elena asked. They've already sent ships to reinforce our outer perimeter, Kim reported. Word is spreading fast. The galaxy is rallying behind human leadership. Chen thought about the irony. 15 years ago, humanity had been seen as weak and helpless. The hegemony had broadcast the Kepler massacre to prove that humans couldn't protect themselves. Now those same humans were the galaxy's best hope for survival against the approaching threat. What are your orders, sir? Kim asked. Chen looked one more time at the faces in the memorial. Every choice he made from now on would honor their memory or betray it. The responsibility was overwhelming, but it was also clear. Begin full integration of all galactic defense forces, he said. Former hegemony species will serve under human command, but they'll be treated as equals once they prove themselves. We're going to build something the galaxy has never seen before. What's that, sir? A defense force that protects everyone, not just the strong. A military that serves life instead of conquest. Elena smiled. Little Sarah Chen would be proud. I hope so, Chen said. Because we're doing this for her and all the others who died on Kepler. They trusted that the galaxy could be a safe place for humans to explore. We're going to make sure it becomes that place for everyone. The external threat was still coming. In 4 years, the greatest test in galactic history would arrive. But humanity no longer faced it alone. They had reluctantly become the leaders of a united galaxy, and they would face the darkness with allies who had learned the true cost of choosing war over peace. The hegemony had pleaded for peace when they became desperate, but humanity had given them something better: justice, and the chance to earn redemption by protecting the innocent instead of slaughtering them. The galaxy had asked humanity to forget Kepler. Instead, humanity had made sure that no one would ever forget the lesson Kepler taught: that the strong have a duty to protect the weak, and that those who fail in that duty will face the consequences of their choices. Above Veltar Prime, human and alien ships patrolled together, preparing for the war that was coming. The children who had died on Kepler would be remembered not just as victims, but as the reason the galaxy finally learned to stand together against the darkness between the stars.